What's up, guys? Welcome to A Reseller's Life. My name is Chris. Today I want to address the number one question that I get on my channel by far, and that is, how do I start selling replenishable products? How do I get something that sells over and over again that I don't need to list every single day until the day I die? I like to get something going, and the holy grail that I've talked about on my channel is 10 by 10 by 10, meaning 10 items that sell 10 times a day for $10 profit. That's $1,000 income, and that will put you in the top 1% of wage income earners in America. If you make 350 grand or more a year, you are in the top 1% of income earners, right? So how do we actually do that is the question. Today I'm going to give you guys 10 things that I copied directly from Sarah Blakely, and hopefully you guys find insight in this, because I really did. If you enjoy this type of content, like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get straight into it. Number one, Sarah Blakely had or doesn't have any partners. She did this whole billion-dollar company by herself. I think a lot of people are afraid of, hey, when I want to get a business going, maybe I need partners. I don't want to give up control. I don't want to hire anybody. I just want to do this all on my own. I still consider her doing this company all on her own. She doesn't have any partners. She doesn't have to rely on anybody else's input. She can run her company the way that she wants to, and I find that really, really, really cool. That leads us into number two, which was, she's always thought big, but she's okay with starting small. And she says this is one of the reasons why she has crushed her competition, because people are raising big $40 million budgets for ads. They're trying to do these things when she says that's not how you actually grow a company. You start with something small, you perfect it, you try to be the best at it, and that's how you grow a company. And that leads us to tip number three from Sarah, which is she focuses only on one category because she wants to be the best. She wants to be known for something. If you think Sarah Blakely, you think Spanx. You don't think she has an apparel company, really. Maybe now there's some different diversification in her business model, but she is really only known for one thing. And I think that's important to understand, because if you want to be the best, you really need to spend most of your time just doing one thing and starting small. So that leads us to the next part of it, which was, did she quit her job? How did she get this going? Well, Sarah Blakely started Spanx with only $5,000 in savings, competing against these giant mega house, gigantic companies. She started with just $5,000, which I find very inspirational, because most people, if they're working, can eventually save $5,000 to get a product off the ground. She didn't have enough money to hire a patent lawyer, because it costs $5,000 to $10,000 to get a patent written. So she researched it herself. Okay, she figured out most of the background work in herself. She had her friend and her mom make a drawing, and she did the best that she could. The drawing and the patent is like her wearing the product. She did most of the work herself, and she had a lawyer write the technical part of it at the end for only $750. That's very inspirational to me. If you can't afford something, don't immediately give up. Figure out how much of it you can do yourself to save yourself on that capital, and then continue to go. Next, number four, she kept her day job for 2 years while she built this up. And that's really important to understand, because if you're trying to live off this income, you're not giving your business the best chance to succeed. You want to reinvest the profits, if you can, back into it. She stayed humble for 2 years. She ate dirt, so they say, to get her company off the ground. She got in the Neiman Marcus, this is tip number 5, by just calling and not leaving a message. She kept calling different people and saying, who do I talk to in the hosiery department? And continued to grow, or continued to call. She was consistent, and she got a meeting with the lady in charge of buying for hosiery as a nobody. She didn't go to any trade shows. She didn't know trade shows existed. When people ask her, how did you get Neiman Marcus? Her answer is, I just called them. And she knows from her sales background, if you leave a message, people will know who you are, and sometimes they can just screen you. She never left a message. She just wanted to talk to people on the phone directly to make it work, which is tip number 5. She had a sales background. Now, I know this is intimidating. A lot of people do not have a sales background. They come in the reselling because they like to shop. They want to find something hot. They want to go hunting and find a rare thing they can flip for a lot of money. But that's not the same thing as a replenishable. If you're trying to get something that sells over and over again, that's more about building a relationship with a manufacturer or a distributor or a wholesaler. It's 100% sales. You have to look for a reason to do business together. And if you're building that relationship over time, if you look at what she did, most of her time was on the phone, talking to different people, verifying her product was the best. It wasn't listing or photography or flat lays. It wasn't any of that stuff. It was building the relationship with people who can actually get this replenishable off the ground. She had a sales background, which I find very important. Engineers and salespeople generally have the strongest transition into replenishables because they're problem solvers. They're looking for ways to do business together. Why would this distributor want to work with me? Why would Neiman Marcus want to call me back? And she told the lady, look, I will fly to you. I will show you the product. And the lady eventually gave her 10 minutes. Her presentation was bombing. And towards the end, she said, will you go into the bathroom with me and I'll show you how the product works? And the lady said, I love it. I finally get it. I'll let you try it in 7 stores. And Sarah Blakely took it to another level and called all of her friends in these 7 cities and told them to buy all the stock. She basically cheated her way into a fast sell-through. They reordered, and kind of the rest is history. But she wasn't going to allow destiny to control what happened to her. She just took matters into her own hands and crushed it. So I want to talk about a few other things that she did. Number 6, she bought 10 of her competitors' products, laid them out on the floor, and copied all the things that were the same. So she's like, if 10 companies have come up with some verbiage or some feature, that must be what the market wants because it's common. All these things are solving the same thing. Then she started adding stuff to make hers better. I find that very valuable. If you want to sell shoes, it would make sense to find the top 10 brands and find out why they sell. Make sure all those things are in your product and then make your own. Private label or making your own products start to finish starts with figuring out what features and benefits people are looking for in that product. I myself have probably about 10 replenishables. Not all of them sell every single day, but all of them I do the same thing. I look at what is selling, why is it selling, how often does it sell, and that's my tip number 7 from Sarah Blakely, which is product is king. Okay, so if you have a great product and word of mouth starts spreading, you don't need to do any advertising. You don't need to worry about social media or Instagram because the best advertising is word of mouth. So she understood the product is king. So you want to sell stuff that sells all the time. This is very important for resellers. If you are looking up a product to see if you should get into that niche or if you should sell it, if you're just flipping things, same thing. Only flip things that sell all the time. It's going to make your life a lot easier. Just because you got it for $1 and there's one comparable sale for 100, that's not as good in my opinion as something that you buy for 1 and sells for 10, 100 times a day. That's a market, that's an industry, that's a replenishable opportunity for you to get in there and make it happen. So again, she focuses on stuff that sells all the time because product is king. Now, I want to talk about how she scaled. This is a phenomenal advice from her, which is she basically picked a friend to be head of product, somebody that she could get along with, somebody that was busy, somebody that already had skills and was ambitious already, instead of somebody who's convenient. I see people hiring their neighbor or kids are home from school, so they grab them and try to force people who don't want to really work. She found somebody who was ambitious and she said, do you want to be the head of product? This is in 2000, 20 years ago. And the lady said, I don't know how to be head of product. And Sarah Blakely said, neither do I. Okay, so this is fantastic advice. You need to know what you want to get done. She knows she needs somebody in charge of making the product, the design, and overseeing that whole project. But she didn't know how, but she still got started. This is super important. You want to hire based on personality, based on can you work together to learn the process. There's no way you can write out something perfectly and just have somebody come in. When the work actually starts, there's still going to need to be some fine tweaking and adjusting the process to really make it work. So it's really important to understand you hire for personality. Don't worry so much about technical skill. You can just continue to grow and make that work. So now I want to talk about my favorite part of Sarah Blakely, which is just her tenacity and not worrying about what other people think. Her friends thought she was crazy. She brought this crappy red Eastman backpack, I think, that was red, to her sales pitch with Neiman Marcus. And she's like, this lady was perfect. She had a dress that matched her purse. Everything was perfectly buttoned. And she's just sort of like this hot mess lady making this presentation out of a backpack. And she still got it done. So I like to think of success looks like this. It's scrappy. You don't really know how it's going to turn out, but you just start, you keep going, and you make sure that you focus on the product being king. You can do it yourself, but eventually you are going to need some help. And when you do, make sure you don't get in your own way when you're trying to get that help. Just pick what the objective is for that person. Maybe that you need them to do pictures for you, or you need them to do listings for you. Figure it out along the way. Make sure that you find somebody who actually wants to do the work. That's super critical. And then so the overall plan for getting replenishable is you find stuff that sells really often. Try to find out everyone that sells in that exact space. Buy one of each, lay it out on your kitchen table, figure it out. What is it about these things that people like? Add that to your product, and then spend the majority of your time on the phone, getting in front of customers and getting in front of people who can make it. That's it. You can look at where you spend your time and you can predict how much money that person makes. If you spend the majority of your time making your photos look nice and steaming and thrifting, you probably make between $5 and $15 an hour, if that's where you spend the majority of your time. Now, there's one part of reselling which a lot of people don't talk about, which is if you want to make $50 to $100 an hour, you can spend the majority of your time in the solds. Okay, which means you're only looking for what's super hot. You can make a fantastic living between 50 and 200 grand a year just picking, finding incredible products to flip. But if you want to get rich, you have to do something that's scalable, that can be done over and over again without you putting more work into it. That's like YouTube. If you start a YouTube channel and you make consistent content week over week over week, and your channel gets bigger and bigger and bigger, you make more money every single week doing the same amount of work. That's actually scalable because your audience gets bigger, more customers, more ads, more money. Same thing with the replenishable. If you come up with a better mousetrap, people like it, people start talking about it, it starts to sell. You don't need to keep making the mousetrap. You just slowly improve it over time, figure out the distributors so you can get a lower cost next time you make it. Make sure that the people who talk about your mousetrap on YouTube, you have a favorable relationship so they continue to plug you. It just starts small. Pick something, pick a category, get inspired, find people who are already doing the same thing as you, and get on it. Right now, we're in a recession where ads are cheap. I know as an influencer and as a reseller, the ad spend is down like 40% right now. People are spending less money on ads, which means if you had a good idea, ads are cheaper right now. You can get the word out, build a community right now for cheap. When the economy rebounds, your sales will be deferred from all that work you did in the community right now. So I appreciate you guys' time. Get on it, get listing, get researching, start small. And again, don't get in your own way. If you want to scale, you eventually have to learn replenishable products. Again, if you're looking to just earn a great living doing reselling, you never need to call a wholesaler, distributor, or manufacturer ever. You can just do the best you can, sell 50 to 100 items a week at between $10 and $20 profit, and make between 20 and 100 grand a year, doing your own thing with no employees and no help. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying this video is addressing those people who want to build a replenishable product. And since that's the most common question I get, I'm going to spend a lot more time researching people like Sarah who did that and then sharing those ideas with you. Again, if you enjoyed this content, like, comment, subscribe. Stay safe out there. I know we're in the middle of a crisis. Take care, guys.